Stan Laurel here. Not sure I can do a Stan Laurel accent. It was somewhere from England, Lancashire, but he didn't have a very strong Lancashire accent, so I'll just stick with my own accent anyway. I'm doing pretty good to do all the rest of this gear because, oh my goodness, you had no idea how long it took me to put on a bow tie and a bowler hat. Yeah, it's actually quite easy. I just do this. It's more in the facial expression this week. Anyway, yes, I was slightly insulted when a comment by one of my friends, Amar Dravid, living up there in Switzerland, put on, yes, looks like a kind of chubby version of Stan Laurel. So yeah, what I was actually doing there, Amar, was I was obviously channeling Oliver Hardy at the same time there. So I was channeling both of them in that picture. Because yes, of course, I don't really have a double chin, or not a triple one, only sometimes. It's just the shirt's a little tight, that's what it is, you see. Actually, I was having a comedy moment when I was putting on this bow tie, because as usual I was running out of time. As it approaches 2 o'clock every Sunday, it's a terrifying time for me, as you might imagine. Suddenly I realise I'm not quite as ready as I thought I was. Well, every week it's the same thing, I don't know why. Doesn't matter how long I prepare in advance. Anyway, I was putting on the bow tie, and it's just one of these clip ones, you know, that you put a clip round the wee ring round a wee hook. It kept bouncing off, boing, boing. It was a total comedy moment. So Stan Laurel must have been up there chuckling, chortling. Oh, chortle, by the way, is a portmanteau word. I assure you, I had no plan to tell you this, but I'm just going to tell you anyway. It was actually coined by Through Looking Grass. Through Looking Grass. God, well, I've been on today. I'm still only on Diet Coke. Something funny about Sundays. Speech goes off the pot. God, what's his name? I've forgotten the author of Alice in Wonderland. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I know you're all going to send messages, and I'm going to Google it right after. Anyway, he came up with the word chortle, which is somewhere between a chuckle and a snort. Chortle. There's going to be lots of chortling in today's show. I hope, by the way, that you're enjoying my darker, younger look here. Oh, I've just noticed this is a little bit darker. I don't know why, because I'm right-handed. That one should have been a little bit better. Let me just top it up. Yes, the second time that I've suffered in this way for my art, because the other show was the Andy Stewart Hogmanay show, where I did a young Andy Stewart. So it would be unfair to impersonate him in his latter days. I wanted to impersonate him, as I do all my special guest hosts with in their prime, yeah. So I'm actually using a bit of I was a bit of cherry blossom shoe polish there. It's an excellent segue into why, instead of the orange blossom special, why don't we do the cherry blossom special? Here's a little set of American tunes since Stan Lee went to, he emigrated to America, obviously, where he made it big with Oliver Hardy, and I think he died in America, actually. So, the should be the Orange Blossom Special, but here is the Cherry Blossom Special. Oh, very special. Distinctly unspecial. Focus. That's what I do that, sitting up and standing and bouncing all the time. Just realised that's what Stan Laurel does. I have a stand Laurel face most of the time when I'm playing. I'm looking at what I could see in the reflection of my phone there. Yeah, that was a nice little set. Went surprisingly not too badly, considering I haven't played that for well, about a year. God, yes, it's coming up for the year anniversary, isn't it? The virus, the pandemic. Damn it, that pandemic. The pandemiversary, the viroversary, that's nice, that just slips off the tongue. I could coin that word, like, still can't remember his name. God, that's terrible. I'm sure you're all frantically typing it up there, the author, the famous author of Alice in Wonderland, through the looking glass. Oh God, never mind. What was I talking about? Oh yes, the anniversary is almost going to be a year. So I don't know, we'll have to do something special for that. I'll do something special and not dress up, like the very first one I did. Can't remember if anybody remembers that, or if anybody's still watching from a year ago. But the very first one I did, I just did normal. It was so boring. I mean, for you. For me, it was terrifying. I can't remember why I started dressing up. Anyway, here we are, a year later. And the neighbours are all just ignoring me in the street when they pass me now. They just go, sorry, I don't know that guy. It's a little bit strange. Anyway, speaking of a little bit strange, my co-host, how could I have forgotten to introduce him? Sorry. It's much easier to forget him when it's not a real dog. You see, the real dog like nuzzles you and looks at you like longingly, going, give me another little tiny bone, please. But this dog just does nothing apart from wheel back and forward, and even then, it's only when I do it. See, this is a trick of the camera. This is actually me making the doggy move. So I often forget it's there. Anyway, today this is Ollie, or as I'm going to call him, Babe, because that's what Stan Laurel called his co-actor and best friend. They were best friends in real life. Wonderful. He called him Babe, and he truly loved them. It was a very touching radio drama on of the a few years ago. I remember hearing it in the last moments, the last sort of few hours of together in the hospital because Oliver Hardy had a heart attack on stage. It's perhaps not surprising because he was quite a big man, but actually in his latter years he lost a lot of that weight. There's some interesting photos on the internet if you want to Google them, and he actually lost all of the weight. I don't know if it was through illness or whatever, but anyway, he was quite frail when he died, but a wonderful drama on Radio 4. I love Radio 4. It's a little bit snobby, I know, but I can't stop myself from listening to it. Yeah, so see if you can catch that. It's probably in the BBC archive somewhere. Anyway, this is Babe, Oliver Hardy, and I of course am Stan Laurel. I also noticed actually when I was doing my Stan Laurel face, it's a little bit like Father Dougal in Father Ted. I'll have to do a Father Ted episode. God, I can't speak today. A Father Ted episode because I thought it'd be Father Ted rather than Dougal, but yeah, I think Dougal's channeling a little bit of Stan Laurel as well. Anyway, I'll tell you a little bit that I've learned about the history of Laurel and Hardy today. Hopefully, if I remember. But I'll just drip little bits of information as we're going along. I did send a text to a friend only about an hour ago to see if they would appear at my window, but I never got a reply. And now I'm using the phone to record this, so I won't be able to see it. But possibly somebody will turn up at the window, but I doubt it. I have got a spare. Bowler hat ready. Well, I'll give him the dog's one if he does turn up. It's a guy. That's all I'm giving away. I'm not going to say anything more in case he doesn't turn up. Now here's an interesting story. Well, more interesting than what I've just been saying. I was digging a friend's garden yesterday. Well, that in itself is not very interesting. An elderly friend of mine, Sheila, who I used to go skating with until about a year ago when they closed all the ice rinks. God knows if they'll ever open again. Anyway, Sheila, I'm sure she won't mind me telling you that just a mere matter of weeks ago she turned 79. She's in her 79th year and still going strong. Little tiny wonderful lady, although she's waiting on a knee operation, so she can't bend down too easily. And so I offered to go and do a bit of digging for her. She was mentioning she was doing some major digging in her garden, putting in new plants and that. God, it was just like all these roots and stuff that I was digging up. And I said, shall I bring some tools? She said, no, I've got my own tools. Well, I didn't realise they were like tiny little tools. It was like a tiny little spade and it's like little hobbit implements and a hobbit fork. And I had to use it. So it took me twice as long as it probably would have. Anyway, I got it all done. But it was amazing. I don't know if anybody watched the show a few months ago when I said I found a pair of sunglasses in my ex-wife's neighbour's garden. Well, when I was digging, no, they weren't just lying there, they were under the ground. And I put them in the dishwasher and it brought them up to a lovely shine, and I wore them in an episode from Music from Scotland when I was pretending to be Jimmy Shan. They had these little side bits, that older folk wear to keep the light out. And anyway, look at these! Yes! Found these in the garden yesterday, and I haven't had time to put them in the dishwasher yet, so I've just done them by hand, so they're a little bit dirty. But let's try them on. I've never actually tried them on. So these are fresh from the garden. What do you think it is? Look at that. Isn't that's exactly what Stan Laurel would have wore if he was around now and he'd been gardening and found these. He would have been delighted, I can tell you. But isn't that weird? I keep finding old sunglasses that are still intact and usable in the garden. Somebody's trying to send me a message, but I'm not sure what it is. So somebody out there can think of something clever, I'm sure. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you because that's what the show's all about. It's about sharing. It's about sharing from our living rooms, from my living room to your living room. I actually got some exciting news this week, which I'll tell you, but not just yet because I better play something. Now I've got a new album coming out very soon because I've pretty much finished it this week. The mastering process, as it's called, which is the final bit where you go ta-da with the magic wand and go there, your album's ready after 3 years. This is, by the way, with a slight delay for the lots of lockdowns. Anyway, it's the wonderful trio which I call MBO, which nobody will know what that means, but it's McCarran, Brechin and O'Hara. And Brechin, obviously. McCarran is Charlie McCarran, fiddle player, well known in Scotland and beyond. And Brian O'Hara, who's fantastic, despite the fact he's Irish, fantastic singer and guitar player, and he sings some lovely Gaelic songs, beautiful, incredible voice. And Charlie plays some lovely fiddle tunes, and I just squeeze along for the two of them. But anyway, it sounds surprisingly nice, the final product, and it's going to be released in the next month or two. I'm thinking of doing a Kickstarter Never done that before, but I might try it. Anyway, just to give you a little bit of a heads up, this is one of the sets from it, if I can remember it. It's called Blue Bonnets Over the Border, which is a traditional tune. Then it's one of mine, my own compositions. Yes, I compose as well, yes, when I'm not dressing up. It's called Mr. and Mrs. Linklater of Cedarwood. And the last one is a composition of Charlie's called Crag and Rock. I'm not sure if I can remember that one, but here goes anything in this show. Oh yes, I was putting lots of Stan Laurel faces through that. Some interesting variations coming out there. Some people would call them mistakes. I tend to refer to them as variations. That's just my interpretation, as my good old friend Badger would say. But my friend Badger, who's 69. Many happy returns, Badger. Last week he was 69. Exciting age to be 69. Yes, I was down seeing him, socially distanced, of course, yesterday. Because his battery was flat. I'm not talking about just his general demeanour of his age. He's feeling a little bit flat. No, his car battery was very flat because he hadn't actually had to drive anywhere. Well, he's quite old and he doesn't have to drive anywhere anyway, but particularly in these days of lockdown. And his car was completely kaput. So I was happy to go and rescue him with a little charging device I have called the battery. A wonderful invention, and it got going instantly. And he also pointed out that the entire car had been converted into a very small swimming pool over the course of the time it had been sitting there, because there was some leak somewhere. He just couldn't find it. I couldn't find it either because I had a look. It all seemed pretty sealed, but the whole inside had been soaking, so he had to dry it out. And I was at least I gave him something to do, you know, because these old folks, they just sit there at home getting bored, you know. Anyway, what are we doing? Oh yes, well, I've got a very exciting thing for you now. There's a famous scene which I remember from childhood of Stan Laurel eating an egg, a boiled egg, and yeah, what he's doing is he's visiting Oliver Hardy in hospital. And Oliver's he's broken his leg. He's got his foot up in a sticky and up on a held on a ramp. What do you call it? A rack, pulley. Why did they always do that in the old days? I don't know. You never see anybody with their foot lifted up now. But anyway, Stan goes in to visit him and thinks it would be nice to take him a gift, and so he brings him some hard-boiled eggs in a brown paper bag. And Oliver goes, why did you bring me some candy like an oracle? He goes, oh, I couldn't afford it, and you never paid me for the candy you brought last time, so what you some eggs instead. So he then so of course Oliver doesn't want the eggs. He says, well, I'll just have one. So takes one out. So, and he's got a little because he's always very polite and courteous, and he brings out a little handkerchief and he places it over his knee, and he takes the egg. Here's one I prepared earlier, and he starts peeling it. This wasn't actually one of the silent films. They did start in the silent era, but they went on talkie. This was a talkie, but obviously not. It would have been better in the silent era, this bit, because it's just like peeling an egg. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying this, because this is real. This is live on TV, Facebook TV. It's almost the same. You can cast it like Harry Potter to your TV. Away with you, Facebook Live TV, onto my TV. Here's, and here, this is a recreation of what he did. There we go. I hope you enjoyed that. That was incredible. I felt privileged to be able to recreate that moment for you. He then, of course, reaches for another one. He gets slapped by the metal bedpan. Yeah, by Oliver, who's tired of this, as you no doubt are as well. So I'm not. Well, you'll be glad to know I didn't actually boil a second egg, because I thought that would be taking it too far, and I'm very well known for taking things too far. So there's just one egg there, and I don't want to be slapped by a mysterious bedpan. That was why it was called slapstick, because people often used to get slapped with a big stick, or even worse, a metal bedpan. So You learn so much. And he says, yeah, well, the guys came together in a film in 1927, and we were put together randomly by accident because some guy hurt himself in a tragic cooking accident. You know, that is not a joke. The guy who was supposed to be playing in the film with Oliver Hardy as his sidekick did something, I don't know what, in a tragic cooking accident. It's like Spinal Tap, isn't it? A tragic gardening accident. And so Stan Laurel, who was meant to be just like doing more camera work, I think, in the studio, it was hauled in at the last minute, and the two of them had a kind of chemistry that the director noticed. Was it Hal somebody? Hal Holbrook? No, I don't know. Anyway, said you guys would be good together, and that was the start of a wonderful career, a wonderful friendship. James Finlayson, by the way, who is the actor that appears in, I think, about 30 of their pieces, he's the guy with the giant moustache, bald head and the giant moustache. He's often a waiter or a manager or something. You know, he keeps appearing as a bit part in all their films and series. He was actually Scottish, well, half Scottish, half American, and fine moustache, but apparently the moustache was fake. It was kind of one of these ones, you know. It was even bigger than that, actually. It was like this. Yeah, it was like that, actually. In fact, that's him. That's him. Look, that's James Finlayson. Wow, I could do him next week. just have to make these brushes stick onto me. Wow, why didn't I think of that before? Instead of these expensive moustaches for 50p and a quid off the internet, I could have just used my very own cherry blossom specials, as I call them. Right, well, that's a great idea for next week's show, Oliver. Remember that, because I probably won't. Right, I better play another tune. Now, the theme tune at the very beginning, of course, was called the Cuckoo Song. Cuckoo, cuckoo. That was the theme tune from Oliver and Hardy, and they're also famous for a song. Oh yes, you didn't think you were going to escape without a song. Just wait until I rinse the hard-boiled egg yolk from the front of my gums up there. Ah, that's better. Right, we don't want to be singing live on TV with egg yolk on our inside of our teeth. It's bad enough having egg on your face. Oh God, I've got a wee frog in my throat. It's a big one, it's a toad. Right. Oh God, right now I'm gonna have to, sorry, this is not part of the comedy stuff. I'm genuinely adjusting my seat to get a better view of the words. Not that many words, but still can't remember them because I only wrote them, printed them off the internet about 10 minutes before the show started. Thought, oh yeah, that's an easy one. On the Blue Ridge Mountains. Well, as you can see, I've just already started in the wrong key, so it's not that easy. And there's a verse that's totally different I didn't know at all, so I had to try and learn that about 40 minutes ago, which I have to admit I failed to do, so just to warn you. Anyway, let's give it a go. Okay, this is in a cowboy western bar that they've just walked into, and there's a guy sitting on a table with his leg crossed up like this, the guitar over it. We'll just have to pretend it's an accordion he was playing. And he starts singing this song. On a mountain in Virginia stands a lonesome pine. Just below's a cabin home of a little girl of mine. Oh, not bad. Her name is June, and very, very soon she'll belong to me. For I know she's waiting there for me neath that lone pine tree. Okay, that bit wasn't so good. Never mind, this is the important bit. Nobody remembers how the verse goes. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. How hard is it to find a pine tree? They don't move. Silly song. In the pale moonshine, our hearts entwined, where she carved her name and I carved mine. going to go down in the left hand and up in the right hand, and it didn't either. Never mind. I'm sure you're all very disappointed. Oh, June, like the mountains are blue, like the pine, I am lonesome for you. That was an unexpected chord. In the blue ridge mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. Now in the sequence, in the actual original, they're leaning at the bar, and the last part has been sung unexpectedly by Oliver Hardy's lovely voice. It sounds really nice. And he's just about to carry on with a repeat of the whole interesting chorus when who should butt in but his pal Stan Laurel in an incredibly deep voice, which I suspect is not his own. It was a bit of clever cinematic overdubbing. Anyway, he then does this. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine, in the pale moonshine, our hearts entwine, over she carved her name and I carved mine. Oh, I got it that time. Oh, June, like the mountains are blue, like the pine, I am lonesome for you. At this point, Oliver Hardy hits Stan over the head. Actually, I practiced this earlier and it was making a nice noise because I actually did bounce it off my head. Ah, there we go. Whoops. Now, sorry about that, folks. That was actually a pair of my underpants. This is not supposed to be a comedy moment. That's a pair of my underpants that have just fallen out. No, they're not fallen from the sky. They've fallen out from inside the hat because that is what is keeping it a little bit higher to give it that Stan Laurel look. So sorry about that. I must apologise. I didn't mean for them to fall out, although that would again have been an excellent Oliver and Hardy moment. Anyway, where were we? We were in the middle of a song. Of course we were. So yes, he's just been hit on the head at the very end of the song, and he suddenly goes into falsetto. It's actually a woman singing. Really, I don't know how they did it. Amazing cinematic technique for 1930 something. And so he goes, in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. She actually goes up an octave. I can't do that, so I just went a little bit up there. But I hope you appreciate the effort I went to. It was putting my vocal cords at serious risk there for all you good people out there. Well, speaking of good people out there, let's hope you're all surviving this terrible time. I am hopefully going to survive another week. This may be bad news for many of you. I think many of you just watch the show to see if hopefully I won't appear next week. But I've managed to do it now for 50. I think it's 50 weeks now. 51. God knows, 50. So yeah, and part of the reason that I'm still here is thanks to the amazing NHS. Let's give them a clap. Oh, let's give them more than that. Our heartfelt thanks, because I got the vaccine this week. Yeah, God, that was quick. I only got a letter, as my mother would say. It's a letter, not a letter. I got a letter last Friday saying, come in, and get your vaccine. Bend over and we'll shove it in. No, it didn't do that. It was in the arm, funnily enough. But I got it on Wednesday, a few days later, in the Edinburgh International Conference Centre. Last time I was in there, I was playing a gig. It wasn't like a stadium concert thing, it was a ceilidh. But anyway, it was, looking back at it now, that was the equivalent of a stadium concert gig, because there isn't any gigs now. Yeah, so who would have guessed that a year later I'd be trotting back in there for a jag? But anyway, very, very smooth, very quick, in and out, brilliant. And I was a little bit ill the next day, I have to say, but I was over it very quickly. Just a little bit tender. A little bit tender and a little bit funny, feeling funny. But then again, I feel funny quite often, particularly on a Sunday. So maybe I just thought it was Sunday. But anyway, fine now. I'm very happy to have had Jag number 1. Looking forward to Jag number 2. Will they give it in the same arm? Does it matter if they give it in the other arm? I haven't heard anybody talking about that on BBC News 24, which is unusual because they're on 24 hours a day. They talk about everything they could possibly think of, but they haven't thought about that one. Ha ha. Right, what shall I do? I should really play something. Here's a jig by my good friend Andy Thorburn, who is the piano tutor at the National Centre for Excellence in Traditional Music. Slips off the tongue, doesn't it? In Plockton, where I am the accordion tutor. And he's a great piano player and a great character, and also writes many great tunes. But this is one that I just remembered I hadn't played for ages. I was giving it as a piece to as a test for one of my pupils this week. It's called The Jig of the Clan Beg, and Beg, B-E-A-G, for those of you that didn't speak the Gaelic, you can. That's small, as in the name that you see, part of the name that you see very often in the Highlands. When you go around the Highlands, there's lots of little B&Bs, usually by owners from south of the border that have retired and come up to have a life of. Why would you retire and enter a life of B&B service? That just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, lots of them like to do that. And they often call it, they just got a nice little B&B, we'll just call it the wee house, the tie beg in Gaelic. Well, that sounds lovely, and they get a wee sign made for outside the front door. But of course, tie beg, the wee house, that is correct. It means house, wee, because you always put the adjective after in Gaelic. But it does mean the wee house, but actually in Gaelic what it really means is the toilet. So it's like, hey, come and stay in our toilet. Yeah, lovely. It's like the guy in Spain that I was telling you about the other week who was wanting to call his pub after my tune, The Crapper. Oh, don't do it. Anyway, here's the Jig of the Clan Beg. You know what? I'll pump up the volume. I'll pump up the chair a wee bit so that you can see the accordion, because it's more interesting. Because all you're going to see up here is a Stan Laurel face. Just what I do all the time, going, oh, yeah, that's another mistake. Hope nobody said that. Right, Jig of the Clan Beg. Stop talking. Tunes of that, because it's just brilliant on its own, and it was fantastic. Normally I would put 2 or 3 other tunes together in a set, but normally that takes a little bit of preparation. Not necessarily with me, I can just do it randomly in my head with interestingly different results each time, but I wasn't there. I just wanted you to enjoy the pure distilled beauty of the Jig of the Clan Beg there by Andrew Thorburn, Sir Andrew Thorburn of Thorburn Powers in Everton. He's actually he's a famous picker. He's a famous tatty picker. He's not just a picker, he's an inspector. He's a tatty inspector. He's an expert on potatoes of all kinds. If you have a question about potatoes that you've not been able to find the answer to from Alexa or her brother Google, then you can call up Andy Thorburn. Actually, there's an idea, Andy. You could maybe just put up a wee 0800 number for not for that kind of thing. No, just for people phoning asking potato questions. Right, what are we on now? Oh my God, we're only 4 minutes to go. That's unbelievable. Look at the state of this. This desk is normally immaculate. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to show you my crotch here. Look at that. Eggshells everywhere. And I don't even have a real dog to eat them up. Mind you, dogs don't really eat eggshells anyway, do they? Not had any pictures from Toki, Alabama, if you're watching. Where are the pictures? You promised me months ago. Look, here's the old photo. I'm getting bored of that one. Want some more pictures? Alabama, I need to email her. She's in Canada. There's a dog that used to be in the show. It doesn't matter. Don't ask difficult questions. Right, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, by the way, Stan Laurel, this is so sad. I told you that they became best friends, Laurel and Hardy. And after Hardy died, of that heart attack. Well, Stan Laurel never performed again. He couldn't do it. I mean, he was offered. Lots of people wanted to play with him, but he didn't do it. He refused because it was just never the same. It was, they were such a golden duo. He couldn't do it, and so that was nice. As Stan described the pair of them themselves, they were, as he summed it up beautifully, they were two minds without a single thought. Yeah, it was actually Stan's dim-wittedness and Oliver's eternal optimism were a brilliant combination. Oh, I forgot to say, James Finlayson, the actor who played with the big moustache, remember him? He's actually the guy that invented "do" from Homer Simpson. They copied it. It's just that he said it much slowly. He went "do." But yeah, it was him that coined that one. I still can't remember the name of the guy that wrote Through the Looking Glass. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I keep thinking Lewis Carroll. It's Lewis Carroll. That's why I kept thinking Lewis Grassic Gibbon. No, that's Leslie Mitchell, is it? Oh God, I'm going off down another rabbit hole. Ha ha! See what I did there. Right, 2 minutes to go. Let's end the show. And there's something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, Stan Laurel was a little bit suspicious. He was a little bit superstitious. I can't talk today. I'm going to let you do the show next week. Yeah, he was superstitious because he was actually born Stanley Jefferson. Well, he was born Arthur Stanley Jefferson, but he wanted to use the Stanley bit for his name. But Stan Jefferson, why couldn't he just use Stanley? Because Stan Jefferson added up to 13 letters. If he'd used Stanley, it wouldn't have, I've just realised. But anyway, he thought that was unlucky to use as a stage name, I mean. So he changed his name to Stan Laurel. Where he picked Laurel from, I've no idea. But anyway, worked for him. I'm going to change my name to Sandy Holly. Laurel and Ivy. The Holly and the Ivy. Laurel. No, sorry, I'm getting confused. I'll think of something else for next week anyway. A name. Oh, by the way, great suggestion, Nancy Somerville, on the little comments on my advert for this show that I should make a calendar. Yes, a calendar of all the characters. But yeah, I'm also thinking of. You've made me think now. I'm going to be thinking of doing calendar girls, a naked one. I could just wear hats in every month. So it would be making it much harder for you to guess the character, wouldn't it? If I was just wearing the hat. And I could use the accordion to cover the naughty bits. It's an idea. Maybe for 2022. Watch those post boxes for one of those coming through from your best friends or your worst enemy. Right, it's there's no time left, but since I started a little bit late, because I was having trouble stuffing the underpants up my bowler. That sounds wrong. I'm just going to finish. I'm going to finish now with an extra 30 seconds of the Cuckoo theme tune. Thank you for watching. It's been a good show actually, despite the fact that I didn't really have a plan for it. Thank you. Well, Oliver, our guest at the window didn't turn up. Probably just as well, because I only had this other bowler hat from him, which my friend Wendy had turned into a lady's bonnet from the 18th century, 19th century. So he might have looked a little bit silly in that. However, I will now put it on because it would be a waste to have it sitting there and not used. Now, did I remember to get that extra powerful shampoo at the chemist yesterday for getting rid of dark hair dye, well, foot polish? I'm not sure I did. Maybe I'll just keep it. It's a good look. Oh God, I've left that on.